And we are live, and I am just so delighted with today's guest. I can't actually believe that she's here. Her name is Pamela Finn, and I forgot to ask you, Pamela, do you like to be called Pam or Pamela?
Usually I'm called Pamela if I'm in trouble, so you can call me Pam.
Well, do you know something? I had another Pamela on here, Pamela Cull, a lighting designer, amazing person, and thousands and tens of thousands of people watched her. She was so amazing, and she said the same thing to me. If my mother calls me Pamela, I know I'm in trouble. But anyway, you're a PR guru, you're a TV presenter, you're a TV producer, which is two very different talents. You own your own media company, you own your own PR company, you have a diploma in journalism, I found that out. And in another life, you're an accounts manager, so you're obviously very good at maths too. So a massive skill set, Pam, a massive skill set.
I'm kind of getting tired even listening to you ream off what I'm doing, because it's so funny. And I'm going to turn up the volume. It's so, because sometimes on paper it sounds so much, but like when you actually do it day to day, it isn't as time consuming, or it isn't as fast as it sounds.
I'm going to stop you for 1 minute. Since you put up your volume, it's gone a bit squeaky.
There's a call.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that better?
That's better. That's great.
Brilliant.
So there are people there, so come in and say hello. But yes, you've got many strings to your bow. But it's funny, with Scott, the presenter, was on here with me maybe 2 months ago, and she said that in my job, similar to you, you need to be able to do lots of things, because there's not just one role.
No, and especially absolutely. I love Ruth. She's absolutely right, because she just seems like a down-to-earth person, which I kind of like. And in media, it's very hard to come across that. But she's right, because especially working in the media, like, it's not just enough to be a presenter now. No. And even going back 20 years ago, you have to be able to come up with the ideas, be able to write the script, be able to have creative ideas, for example, in presenting. And the same goes, like, they kind of all relate to each other. So like presenting, PR. So I have a PR agency, and I mainly do consults. So I work with Design and Craft Council of Ireland and local enterprise offices and private clients. So like one day I could be mentoring a client that's a turnover of 20 million. And you know what? The interesting thing is, those clients are actually the most, I find, the people that have achieved the success are the most down to earth, relatable people. And then I could be mentoring somebody that's just starting a business. So that's really diverse, and that's exciting. And then I set up originally a social media agency about 3 years ago with another lady, Jacinta Collins. And we decided the overwhelm with social media, Anne, is it was a little bit toxic, and it was very hard to stay on top of it. So we set up social TV, social TV is TV for social media. So we go to events when events were happening, and we broadcast live. And that was so successful. We used to get, like, I did an interview with Tommy Tiernan. I think the last count, it was like 50,000 organic views. He was really interesting, though. He was exactly as he is on the TV.
But hasn't he turned out to be a rock star of an interviewer? He is so authentic and so, I don't know, so intuitive and so capable. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant.
And you know what it is, I think, in terms of presenting, he gives the interviewee the space to answer the question. When you're doing TV and interviews, as you know, sometimes we're afraid of that lack of noise or lack of something happening. But he allows that space. And I don't know about you, when I'm watching that show, I'm a little bit uncomfortable sometimes. I'm like, what's going to happen? Yeah, because I'm like, I think maybe it's because from a presenting point of view, I'm like, what's he going to say next to this person, or what happens if they say this or they say that? But yeah, so many different hats. So that the TV presenting, and I did a stint with RTE at your service as well. Recently produced a show for RTE, and a few other shows in the pipeline. So I never stop trying, and I'll never give up.
But isn't that great? I love that. But I think creatives are born like that. You're hardwired like that. And a challenge makes you grow. You're a Galway girl. I can remember about 2 years ago, I was designing tiny little pods on the Wild Atlantic Way, 19 square meters. Lorcan, the owner, wanted them to be like a boutique hotel to accommodate 4. At the same time, I was actually working on a house in Galway in Chestnut Lane, beautiful little road outside Galway City, 5,000 square foot house. It was a breeze. So I think the hard things, the difficult ones do challenge you, and they're almost like precious child.
Yeah, it is. And I think we all, as you said, we always need to be challenged. Like I'd find it really hard to sit still. But like, yeah, like I think I have ADHD or something like that. But to me, I work it in my favor, like, in terms of coming up with ideas. So like I could be sitting down, like, for example, I was sitting down watching TV. I don't watch TV like people watch TV. People watch TV to escape. I watch TV because I watch it for ideas, and it's very hard to switch off, even if I'm listening to the radio. You're probably the same way, are you?
A little bit, yeah. Probably way behind you, but yes, a little bit.
Yeah. So like when I would be watching a show, I would come up with ideas for either campaigns for clients or shows or new businesses. Like a lot of businesses would come to me with the concept of an idea, and then I would often as well say, well, what about doing this or doing that? So I would nearly formulate, change it a little bit. So like it's great to see. There's one company that I worked with, and they came to me with an idea for schools. They're working with schools, a particular product, and we chatted. We mentored about 3 sessions, and they're on RT News last year. They launched the new business, and it's just expanded. So it's great to have that input into a business and be able to step away, that you don't need to do the other stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God. So how did you get into this? Where did you start off? Did you start off in accounts or journalism, or how did you start off?
I'll start at the beginning. I think that's the best place to start with everything. So when I was in school, I'm not going to go back to when I was in junior infant. When I was in secondary school, I wasn't the type of lady that would study, and I was just a little bit of a rogue, but I always knew I wanted to work in TV. So I remember always, that's all I've ever wanted to do since I was knee-high too.
Where did you grow up, Pam? I know you live in Galway now, but are you a Galway girl? No?
Yeah, it's Galway girl. I grew up on a farm with, like, I have 6 other siblings. So like real traditional and normal upbringing by all accounts. And it was always just something I wanted to do. So then finished school, and I worked in a recruitment agency, and then I went for 2 interviews. One interview was for a sales job in a website company. The money was incredible. The other job was to work in radio as an account manager in Dublin, who I didn't know anybody. And then I remember going into work, and I met one of the recruitment consultants, was a psychotherapist in his past life. And I said, I just don't know what to do. And he said, just follow your dreams. And I was like, yeah. So I
love that. Pam, do you know something? Yesterday, I actually spoke to 6th formers over in the UK. And that is exactly what I said to them. It was amazing. It was just wonderful to speak to young people. I swear we should all do it more often. Although it's so funny, not many people know this, but I didn't know. It was a guy from Donegal who set it up. He's head of the faculty over there.
Yeah.
And I went online with him 2 minutes before we were due to talk to the class. And I realized he knew damn well he was a boyfriend of mine years and years ago. And I hadn't seen him in all those years. Oh my God. But follow your dream. You're so right. If I only had that wisdom when I was 18, like if I went to the nuns, I went to boarding school and said, I want to be an interior designer, I would have got a slap, because you were either encouraged to be a teacher. I couldn't sing, so I couldn't do that. A nurse or a civil servant. So I went for nursing, and and that's how I started off. So, but follow your dream. Absolutely. Because when you love what you do, it is your passion. It carries you. You'll work 40 hours a day if you have to.
I think so, because like people can often say to me, like, you're not tired from work, and I was like, this sounds mad. Like I love my job, I love it. So I worked in radio, and then I went out to East Coast Radio to do some stints to look and see what they were doing. Then I was there for about 2 years, then moved back to Galway to work for the Connacht Tribune newspaper. So I was over the property section in the newspaper, and while I was there, they paid for me to go back to college and study journalism. Yeah. Now I'm desperate at writing, but I have the theme and the angles, if you get what I'm saying, for the story. And I have a client, Brendan Flynn from the Clifton Arts Festival, and I'm always afraid sending press releases to him, because he was an English teacher, and he's highly articulate. Like Seamus Heaney would have been one of his best friends, for example. That'll tell you, the level. He's a beautiful man. He's about 85. Anyway, I remember sending him press releases, and he said, Pam, I don't look at spelling or grammar, just the theme. And that kind of resonated because I had a chip on my shoulder that I wasn't a good writer, but I pay people to write for me now, as long as the angle's right. But anyway, where was I going with that? I'm going off in tangent.
The story. So you're back in Galway and you're working looking after property in Galway and the Comic Tribune.
Working in the newspaper. And while I was there, clients would come in and they'd be advertising, and I'd be like, think of doing this or that for your business. And after I had my son, I decided I just launch a PR company,
Just like that.
Just like that. I always just go for it. Like, it's like, well, what do I do? I'll just do this. At the same time, man, I always wanted to work in TV, but I never knew how to do it. I remember being 18 years of age and walking into RT to ask to meet with Charlie Bird. Was brought up to the newsroom. Yeah. He was so
They actually brought you in. They let you come in. You talked your way in.
I talked my way in. Like, I suppose I was so innocent in so many ways. Like, can I just meet Charlie Bird? Yeah. So he said to me, read a newspaper every day and always look for the story. And where I'm going with that is like, I never stopped knocking on the door, like even from a young age, just knock, knock, knock. And then, so worked in the Comic Tribune newspaper, and I did the journalism course, did a small bit of writing for them. And then after that, I, as I said, set up the PR company, and the PR company was successful in terms of clients. And I moved from managing campaigns to mentoring because I prefer mentoring. And then about 3 years ago, set up the social media agency, and we were asked to go to an event and to do Facebook Live. And we said, with #media, the agency.
Was that the house event? No?
That was one of the events.
You did a superb job there. Superb.
Thank you. I loved that event. So the first event was like the Galway Craft Fair, and the event was so successful in terms of traction on social media that the event was full, and people kept saying, why are you not doing this more? And we're like, let's call it social TV, like TV for social media. And then we reached out to event management companies, and they wanted to work with us. They thought we did, and we were working closely with events that are on in the RDS. And we were just about to do other bigger events. And we were in Los Angeles and launched social media, or launched social TV, and there was a lot happening. And then COVID happened. But we're like, we're not going to let COVID stop us. And we decided to come up with ideas in terms of pitching shows to RTE, and also creating videos for brands. So telling a brand story through video. So yeah, in between all that, I did TV work. So I'll tell you the story about TV. I was always afraid, Anne, I was afraid, yet I'd still send emails, what's the best person to contact, and looking at show reels and doing show reels. But I remember about 7 years ago, I got Galway Now magazine, and I opened it up, and there was an article about this voice coach, Paul Mousalides, who was a voice coach for Hollywood stars. He's an Irish man. He set up the Children's Gaiety School of Acting, and he was running a presenting course. And I just said, what have I got to lose? Just do it. Did it. And got a show reel. He put me forward for a job with Sky 191, got my own show for a year. And out of that, got the RTE at your service as well. And so there was a few jobs taken away, but it is difficult. It's a difficult area to break into.
Of course it is, because it's the same people seem to dominate everything, and the pool is small. But as you say, if you keep knocking on the doors, Edward Hayden, have you ever come across Chef Edward Hayden on your travels?
No.
Amazing guy. He was a guest here. Oh God, he was wonderful. But he said he is a resident chef, or he's one of them on TVAM, and he said he literally tortured them for arriving at the door, of Virgin Media with all of his stuff. But you know what? It paid off, because he's there now doing it all the time.
That is brilliant. I just think go after it. It's always been my life motto. Like, I don't get too down about anything for too long, because I just think there's always opportunities. And it's the least time you'll expect something, and that you'll get that call, or somebody will ask you to do something that will lead to other things. I know it's like, don't give up, but really do not give up on your dream. If it's your dream, it doesn't matter what it is.
Absolutely. And you know something too, I think too, when you're asked, don't even think about it. Say yes, thank you very much, and figure it out afterwards.
I love
Would
that.
you agree? I'm
Absolutely.
serious.
Richard Branson always says that.
That's right.
Say yes and try to figure out how to do it afterwards. Yeah.
Pam, I look back to, gosh, a good few years ago, I got a call from Mark O'Neill, who works with Vision Independent Productions, great young fella, saying, RTE have commissioned us to do a show called Show House. Would you take part? At that point, I'd never had a client. I'd never had a brief. I'd never done anything except our own homes. And I said, yes, and won it. And Shane Filan happened to be the developer. So it was crazy nuts. But if I'd said no, I wouldn't be here today.
That's amazing. See, like that one phone call, and because you said yes instead of doubting.
So it's really important. Maura Mackey said, love that, Anne. Yes.
Oh.
Figure it out. Say yes and figure it out. Let me see if there's any questions here. Maura saying, you're so inspiring. Pam Mulkieran McDonough says, hi, Pam, from Mary Clifton Arts Festival, a good friend of yours, obviously. Isn't that lovely? Marina McLaughlin, now here's somebody, I don't know who it is. She said, hi, ladies. Pam is a true professional, a force of vibrancy and positivity in any boardroom. Wow. A whiz at finding out what a client wants when they don't fully know themselves. A very fabulous lady. Listen. Doesn't get much better than that. And I don't even know who that is. I can check it on my phone. Colin Kemp is saying hello, and Jane Canning is up in Dublin. They're all saying hello. This is just fantastic. Brilliant. Now, that's very positive.
That is so nice to hear. And you've some following. Oh my gosh.
I know. And you know what? There's no nonsense here. There's no negativity. Okay. My husband actually said to me a couple of weeks ago, I said this before, he said, you know, Anna, everybody you've had on have been genuinely really positive people, and they have, but I've cherry picked them. To be honest, nobody is sitting beside me that I don't have respect for, because I think you can't fake that. You know, this is real, and I am just genuinely thrilled that you're here. Absolutely. Because,
yeah,
you know, but video, everybody's doing video. I mean, people who never, teachers, everybody is doing video. Any tips for them, Pam? Any tips for them? Or is it something you'll do in your new business?
See this? No, I have tips here. This first tip is get good light. It's a little light ring. It's a tiny little light ring. Now, what I would say, like with video, so like everybody's doing video and short and sweet. Like the amount of people that are using video in terms of this year versus last year has increased by 70%. It's huge. What I would say is think of the story. Like no matter what it is you're putting out there, make sure that it's curated right. And keep it real. And like sometimes the most natural video and the most authentic video is the best. The spur of the moment video also works, as long as there's that authentic personality and idea coming through. So like in terms of video, it's where it's at in terms of social media and brands and how to engage. But it really, it sounds like, you know, such a cliche, but it's always about the story and staying true to your brand and what it is you like. Like for some people use social media, you know, to put up pictures of their dog. Sometimes it's nature. Kind of stay consistent in what you're doing and keep it short and like try and upskill. There's a lot of free courses to upskill in terms of like, you know, you use StreamYard. I used to use Zoom and get an editor. Like even you're like ahead of me in terms of what you were doing. Like we're all always learning.
I'm making this up as I go along. From day one, I've been making it up.
No, but you see, Anne, you said that earlier on, that you said all the people have been positive, but I goes back to the type of person you are will bring back that energy. So like if you are putting out these good vibes, you're going to get it back. That's the way the universe works. So you're putting it out and that's why, you know, you're getting it back twofold. So go back to videos, like I would say upscale, play around. What's happening with video at the moment is people are using TikTok. Mm-hmm. They're using Reels, and I struggle with that because I find it a bit contrived. I'm not into that. Yeah, but that's okay if you're not into that. Yeah,
exactly. And you know what? It could be a fad. It might just come and go, to be honest. Yeah, but video is here to stay. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. So do you teach people how to, say they're working from home now and they're presenting on video and they're in the middle of a boardroom talking to their clients and they might be fine in the boardroom? I rang a really prestigious Irish company today who've got the most amazing story. Managing director will not come here because he just can't. Marketing manager will, but it's amazing. And that's happened. A few people I've rang and they've said, I just can't do it. Can't bear having my photograph taken. I certainly won't be live on camera. And it's such a pity.
It is. There's some people that are just like, they don't want to be in that position, and I think sometimes it can stem from a number of different issues. But what I find as well is sometimes if they get a little bit of training, like a really small bit of training, and their first run of it is a bit positive, then they don't mind too much. Sometimes this is unbelievable. Like I've met CEOs that have they're really successful, but what it comes down to is they're afraid they'll sound stupid. Like imagine, and these are people that have successful businesses or people that are very successful in life. But sometimes you will meet that person, and you can do training with them. I think sometimes as well, it's about making them feel comfortable in front of the camera. Like you have that skill where I don't feel as if I'm being interviewed. It's like a normal chat. And that's really, really important. So even if you just did a few trial samples, say, look, this is how I'm going to do this with you, see what you think about this. And they're like, oh yeah, that isn't too bad. Yeah. So, RT ran a piece of me in the summer about videos and how to create good videos. I think that's on the RT website, Boost My Business, which is something that everybody should do if they have a business. That's a feature that RT are running, and get onto it. Boost My Business, it's called.
I've actually applied for it, but don't tell anybody. But I'm beginning to wonder though, is television as we know it, is it changing a little bit because of this prevalence of social media and video and the accessibility to video and people tuning into little shows like this as opposed to mainstream big TV?
Yeah, I had a chat with Nora Casey about this, which is really interesting. We were chatting.
She's actually coming on with me here as well. I cannot wait. She's busy, so and that she's amazing. So tell me all.
So we were chatting about this, about the future of TV, and Nora and I were chatting about it, and she was like, we're a good bit off that, and I think we are 10 years. If you look at the stats in terms of the passive viewer, so the reason social TV worked is, and yourself, so people might be online looking at this on a laptop or whatever, but they'll still be on their phone looking at stuff. So it's the passive viewer that they're looking at it. But if you look at the likes of RTE, terrestrial TV, they're pushing RTE Player, for example, which is really small snippets of shows. So like 30.
Why are they doing that?
Because it's that genre. So RTE Player, yeah. So if you imagine, like when I worked at the Connacht Tribune newspaper, to relate it back, their readers would have been 45 plus. So the readers were literally dying off. So they had to change the paper. We're not at 45, Jesus Christ. So it's the same with RTE to garner that attention and then to move it and to mold it. So there's a lot of shows on RTE Player that you don't see on mainstream TV. And I'd love to see them, but there's a reason why they keep that on RTE, and there's a reason why they use the likes of the RTE Player. And the way people are dipping in and out. Look at the way you watch Netflix. You'll dip in, you'll dip out, you'll be on your phone. So I think it's an emergence of everything together.
That's incredible. People's attention spans are not as, how would I say, not as strong as they were. Our attentions, we have too many diversions. As you say, you've got your phone, you've got your iPad, you've got everything else, and you're watching the television. I'm going to take one message here because I see Trish Collins is saying, actually, you know what, I'm going to show you this. Read it for yourself. The compliments were from me. Love this lady. We kept our friendship beyond the work projects. Oh my goodness. Trish has been such a great supporter here as well. And I've not met her yet, but I can tell you
is incredible.
Our hearts in the same place, and we're definitely meeting, have a drink somewhere. Yeah,
you're definitely soul sisters, twins from another life. Trish, like this goes back to work relationships and people you work with and what they bring to you. Like Trish was one of these people that when you walk to the room, she would light up. She'd literally light up the room. One of these people, they have that special
energy,
and she's like a real woman's woman. So like, I would post something on social media. Like I haven't actually met Trish in over a year because of COVID, but she'll always be there supporting you. And that's why it's so important to have these amazing women around you that will boost you up and keep you going,
She is amazing. Last Friday, I told you this. She sent me a message and said, I really think you should try and get Nora Casey on the show. So I thought, you know what, I'll tell her. And she said, my friend Pam interviewed her. And I went back and I said, is your friend Pamela Finn? Because she's my guest on Thursday. And we laughed and giggled. It's a small little world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny how the universe just gels us all together, isn't it?
So tell me, what's the next step for Pam? What did Pam do next? What will Pam do next?
So at the moment, I'm working on some projects in terms of shows. So we're working on loosely a Netflix show. The concept is there.
Really?
Yeah.
And is that like a year's worth of work? Is that a very long time, lead-in time?
Yeah, it would to produce it and create it. We're at the stage where it's a really good original idea. And like we're playing with pitching. Like we have a few shows in for consideration, and then so show wise, I want to get back to live events next year, do more social TV, and then I want to really concentrate on the presenting work more because that's what I love. And then the PR consults are just ticking away, but who knows? Like I always think you just don't know what's going to happen next, and I just think I could be anywhere this time next year. I could be in the States, I could be here. Now I have a son and I have a partner, but what I mean by that is like career wise, you don't know, and I'm open to everything.
How old is your son, Pam?
He's 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
Great fun. He is great fun. He's at that age where they're just a little bit older and you can chat to them a little bit more sensible, you know, but he's got a great sense of humor. He calls me Karen the whole time. You know, that's like, you're just Karen. It's like this.
That must cause confusion. Yes, that's funny.
Karen, I think, is this person that just is always complaining. So I was like, Mikey, pick up those clothes. But anyway, yeah, so he's 14, but he's great. He's great fun. He's my buddy. Yeah.
Oh, boys, I have 3 sons. Boys are brilliant. They're absolutely fabulous. They really are. And 2 of ours are away. One's in Australia and one's in college in the Netherlands. And I have not seen them for quite a long time.
Oh, and that must be so hard.
Listen, it's beyond hard. Yesterday was Jack's birthday. Jack's our son here, you know, and it was lovely. But Jack said, you know, all I wanted was for the 2 lads to be around the table. And I mean, everybody's family has been affected, everybody's friendship, and we just have to stay positive. I keep saying to myself, they're healthy, they're well. Fortunately, they both have gorgeous girlfriends, and I'm really pleased about that because it must be very lonely for young kids who are away from home, maybe living in a 1-bed apartment in London, not having a boyfriend, not having your work colleagues around you. You know, how tough is that?
I know, like, I think, like, everyone bandied around the mental health of COVID, but I said it last April that I thought this was going to have a serious effect. And I like, not to get too political about it, but I do think that, you know, they were at the stage where we really do, our young kids, the younger generation, they just need to get on with living. Absolutely. And we do. Like, I was talking to somebody last week, and I was talking to somebody on Tuesday, and she said her friend, she's Polish, and she said her friend was actually, her friend is in a mental institution because she couldn't deal with being alone. And the loneliness, because you see some people, you know, it's okay for us because we can connect to people, but imagine if you were, you know, a waitress and you're just out of work or whatever job you're in that you couldn't connect with other people, you're just isolated. So I think we need just to reach out and help and let people know they're not alone. Like, but I do think we've turned a corner now, and I think there's good news on the horizon. I got a message this morning about sun holidays, Pamela, third world problems. Sun holidays hopefully are coming back, international travel. Yeah. So like,
I feel optimistic too, and even the nurse in me is optimistic, and the sun is shining out there. I think if our weather would just brighten up a little bit again, it will help us to get out in the sunshine, get the vitamin D, and just, you know, dream of better times coming. Pam, I could keep you here all day, girl.
Honestly, talking to you all day. It's brilliant to be on the other side, because I'm usually the one interviewing somebody else. So it's lovely to be on the other side of the table.
But, you know, I'm half cracked, because when I think about, I've had you here, I've had Ruth Scott, Claire Ronan, Orla Carmody, people who are top of their game at interviewing and presenting, and, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing. But listen, it's all good. It's all good.
Thank you so much for asking me on.
Oh, you're so absolutely welcome. So maybe if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you, Pam?
For those that are on Instagram, it's Presenter Pam. That's just my username. Or else my website is prpam.ie or prpam.com. So, it's
all very easy. Okay.
Yeah.
And say if anybody, the new business that you're starting, tell me a wee bit more about that if we have time. We do.
Is this the social media that have moved on to video production?
Yes, yes.
So we create like social series for social media. So like it would be, we worked with Keith Walsh from 2FM about a show about mental health, but it was only 3 minutes long per episode because that's what people are digesting.
How do you do that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I worked with Keith. He was talking a lot about mental health, and I wanted to do something in that area, and then we went to him and we produced, shot the show, edited, put it out in his social media and our social media. So that was one show. For example, we created a show for RTE called Stitch. So the Stitch show was,
I know about Stitch. Yes,
yeah,
pertinent. Because people are sewing and crafting at the minute. So tell us about Stitch.
Tell us about Stitch. 70% increase in the amount of people taking up hobbies. So because I work with a lot of artists, designers, crafters, I had this idea to create a simple show to show people how to sew. And I remember having that idea this time last year. And then we worked with a number of contributors, really talented seamstresses, Sally and Maren, Laura Egan from Studio Minty, and El Marie Kilmarin. So like loads of really gifted seamstresses and upholsterers, and so they show you how to take up a hem and a skirt. They show you how to create a makeup bag. So really simple ideas. Remember Mary from Make and Do back in the day?
Yes.
Version of that, but for sewing. So to make things out of something that's already there, and to be.
That's actually a brilliant idea. How did you even think about that? But it's very relevant now. It's very relevant because people are doing things they never did before.
Yeah, they're taking, as I said, like there's a 70% increase in the amount of people taking up new hobbies. Yeah. You know. So, like, look at you. You've taken up a hobby. Your hobby.
I've taken up a hobby. Here it is, absolutely. Oh, Pamela, I'd love to see if there's any more questions there, but I don't think there are.
That's okay.
A lot of my girls are actually working on the front line, and they will binge watch. They say they binge watch at night when they come home, and over the weekend, people seem to watch an awful lot as well. Because I suppose people can't.
It's now,
I suppose. Hard. 3 o'clock is hard. It was easy during lockdown, but now they're picking kids up from school and they're doing things.
So sorry for them, like especially the nurses that, you know, they would have contracted COVID or they've been in close proximity and they have to isolate. Like, how do they then mind their children and how do they balance? Like, it's really hard. Like, I think, like with, you know, and especially people like that are on the front line, they've come through this. And I think that we'll all be stronger as a result. But yeah, I hope they enjoy.
I do think they're going to come out stronger. Actually, it was last Thursday, I had Sinead Steenson in Belfast. She's a career coach for women, very strong, powerful person. And I think the nurses and the health professionals in the HSE are going to have a greater sense of their own self-worth and hopefully will be stronger in negotiating what they're worth at the end of it, because they have carried us. I know, because my friends are all nurses and doctors mostly, and I know what they've been through, and they're the ones who've really got us all through. And that's the truth.
They're like, when the chips were down, we relied on them. And like, I just think we need to just show, well, I did anyway, just because one of my close friends is a nurse. My best friend is a nurse, and just to have that respect, as I always say, you know, you just don't know what their day is like versus our day. So we can't even imagine, you know, what it's like. So yeah, I think we do. And you're right. We have that perspective. We might respect other people's, what they're doing, their roles in life. Even the essential workers in the supermarkets.
But you know something, when everybody was talking about getting guards and teachers and everybody vaccinated, I thought, the guys in the supermarket, they've been the ones there. The only people we see really on a daily basis or weekly basis, and they're the ones at the front of it as well. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And they've been so great and so friendly and just, you know, I agree. Yeah.
Brave. Will COVID change us, do you think? Last question.
I think for the better.
I think so too.
I think it's made us realise what is important. It's not the big things, it's the really small things, Anne, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's having your boys around the table to eat an Oreo cheesecake that their mommy made, yes?
Yeah. And meeting a friend for a walk that you haven't seen in months.
Going for lunch, going for coffee, going for dinner. I know, getting your hair done. Oh my God.
You got my hair.
Listen, ladies, Pam cut her fringe today, and didn't she do you do a super job.
Seriously?
Look. Okay, well, I wouldn't advise you to wear it like that, but the other way was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Is our time up?
Yeah, our time is up, so we're going to go. My husband's telling me we're still live. He thinks we're just chatting, but sure we are just chatting. Yeah. So listen, everybody, Ros Meekin is saying, thanks, Alan, Pam, enjoyed listening, interesting, and always so inspirational. She's saying they've been Trojan workers, and sure she's working on the front line now herself. Amazing. Listen, could keep you here all day, but I won't. So I will be back, not tomorrow, but I'll be back on Tuesday with my favorite artist, Sheila O'Byrne from Clare. On Wednesday, I have Susie O'Neill from AU Cosmetics. Have you come across AU yet?
Yes, I've seen that brand.
That's going to be a full house. Amazing. I've waited a while to get Susie. She's really busy. She's busier than Santa Claus. And then on Thursday, I've got a physio who specialises in down below. So that's going to be very interesting for us.
Oh, and it's so diverse. I can't wait to hear it.
No, it's great. Listen, it was my absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much, because I know how busy you are.
Not at all. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a lovely day.
I will do. So stay safe and stay fabulous, everybody. Bye.